Hey guys, it's Jason with Kentucky Sustainable Living. I've got Shelly with Two Old Crows Homestead with us tonight. Then we've got Bruce Devries with Bruce. What's your channel? You've changed it on us.
Leather Homestead.
Leather Homestead.
Yeah.
Bruce is down in Tennessee, and he is a jack of all trades. He does custom leather work and does awesome biochar and makes kilns also. So, Bruce, we're glad to have you tonight. You're going to be at the festival in October. Shelly's at an undisclosed location today, so we can't say where she's at. But Bruce, kind of give us some background into your background, what you're doing, the leather stuff, the biochar, and all of that.
Okay. Well, how far back do you want me to go?
Well, not super far. Let's go back from when you were like 25.
Okay. All right. Well,
then we'll have like 75 years to cover.
Yeah,
right?
that's a pretty good while ago. Yesterday. I tell you what. Let me go back to when we moved to Tennessee. There's right there. So we got here in '92, and my wife and I are school teachers, so we came here to teach school, and my children were small then, and so we taught school here for 11 years, and then I started a construction company and did remodeling for about 15, and then in that process I got into leather. One of my daughters was already into doing some leather work. She was working up in Wyoming at the time, and so we opened a shop together. And the fella that got me started, he was getting up there in years, and so when he closed his shop, I bought a lot of his material and just different tools, that sort of thing. So we opened up a shop here on our place, and we worked together for a year or so, and then she got the bug to go back to Wyoming, so I just kind of kept it up and kept trying to get better and do more things. And it's a custom shop, so we don't keep a whole lot of material on hand, but I like to say if you can think it up or dream it, we can make it. So we don't turn any projects down because it's hard or odd. I don't know if we never had anybody ask me to make any of that odd black leather, that people use. So I'm probably going to be out on that. But thankfully nobody's asked me, so that's good. I didn't have to turn that down.
Now, Shelly, we need to note this. I did not bring up topics tonight.
Yeah, sometimes Jason gets out of hand. I have to rein him in. So if I start directing us back a little bit, that's what's happening.
Well, I didn't mean to deviate too far there.
You're fine.
As long as it's normal leather goods, you're fine with it.
Yeah, what we call pretty much normal, run of the mill, Western, country, belts, hats, nice, but belts and purses and, just the normal kind of stuff.
Oh, you've got. I looked on your website a long time ago, and some of those bags, like the toiletry bags and the clothes bags, I'm like, those are awesome.
Those have really been popular. They've really done well, and that's a nice project. I enjoy making those. They're
I know the purses that you brought to the Self-Reliance Festival. When was that? Back in March or whatever. They are absolutely beautiful. Like, your craftsmanship is amazing. You make some awesome stuff.
Well, I appreciate that. We try to bring things to the festival that people. Well, we have stuff from $2 to $500. So, excuse me. We like to have something for everybody. Kids and women, and when we were going to a lot of gun shows, we just had lots of more or less men's stuff, and So we started trying to get into some bags and some purses and clutches, crossbody bags, and one thing like that. So I don't like to do production work if I can help it.
Oh yeah, if I traveled more, I would buy a toiletry bag and a clothes bag, but I don't go anywhere. So,
Well,
but I still might get one though, just to have it.
they fit in they're nice. They fit right in an overhead, on a plane, and that we kind of made them for that. That design actually comes from a guy down in Elmont, Texas, Maker's Leather Supply. A guy named Aaron runs that, and I don't know if he put that design together, but boy, it's been really popular. And it's a million little pieces, but once it gets all together, it makes a pretty nice bag.
Oh yeah. So what else? What else about the leather stuff, Bruce? You just kind of skimmed over. Well, what? So you and your wife were teaching school, and then you retired and did a construction company.
Yeah, well, yeah, more or less retired. I got tired of going into Nashville.
I don't blame you.
And so, and about that same time, there was a church here in the area that needed somebody to help them do the maintenance around the church and just do general things, around the campus. They had a really nice big campus. So I helped them for a few years, and then I just stopped doing all that kind of work. It just remodeling all my tools. I just set them up, and I have a neighbor right below me, a friend of mine, and he needed somebody to help him with his farms. He's got one here and one in Kentucky, so he asked me if I'd come down there and help him, and it's kind of gone from helping him to 40 plus hours a week now. So, but I like the work. It's just farming, and so that's what I do. So he's real good to work with. So, and it's only 100 yards down there. Well, maybe about 200 yards from my house down there, so I could walk if I had to.
That's a lot better than dealing with Nashville, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't even go into White House if I don't have to.
I don't blame you a bit. So you're still doing leather working, and you got your custom shop where if people need any kind of normal custom leather goods, they can get a hold of you with that.
Right.
So,
and I think my phone number's on that website. They can call me. We'll talk about whatever they want. When I say custom, I mean you pick out the leather, you pick out the thread, you pick out the style, you pick everything. I mean, and if I don't have it, I'll get it.
Well, now, wait. I didn't get to pick out any thread the other day when you're doing our secret project.
Oh, you didn't, did you?
I feel hurt now.
Well, I haven't thrown anything, so I probably would have texted you about that before I started sewing. I assumed you wanted pink or blue or maybe lavender.
Yeah, lavender would be pretty.
Bruce, let me tell you something about Jason. You got to rein him in a little bit. When you start giving him options, it's a free for all. Just don't even go there. Just rein him in and say, this is what you get, buddy, and he'll be okay with that. But you start telling him choices or options, and you're screwed.
I have whatever color I want as long as it's black.
White or black?
Right.
Yeah, you got your choice. White or black. Well, I do have a little brown, and I do have red and.
Whatever color you want to put on it is fine with me.
Okay. I'll probably go with white. That'll be pretty safe.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. You've done it, and you know what looks good, so you do what looks good.
Yeah, white always looks good. It's classic, It's a big accent. It goes good on any color. So.
Yeah.
So do you have like a person that you source your leather from, or do you have like a supplier that you get it from? I mean, is it like local farmers that do this, or do you cure it yourself? Is that even a thing? I don't know. I guess you cure leather, right?
Okay. Just a second. I got a low battery here. I'm going to plug this thing in. Just take me 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, Chase says I don't have a pulse. So
Oh no. Okay, hang on.
No, you're here.
Well, I was about to plug in my computer, but that's not going to do any good if I don't plug in my phone. So. Oh, what a ditch.
Bruce, are you unsupervised tonight?
I am unsupervised. I'm totally unsupervised. Let me get around here where I can see. Okay, how's that?
That's fine.
So the source of my leather, actually there's a really good source right there in Buckering, American Leather Direct, and those hides. It was an American company that was buying from a Mexican tannery, and the tannery bought the company. Now the tannery owns the distribution place, and they have some really nice leather, and so I get from there. And then there's another really nice smaller tannery down in Tullahoma, and they make some really nice bag leather. They actually do the leather for all the baseball gloves that Rawlings makes. So they've got some really good things down there. And then you can order any kind of leather known to man. I mean, snapping turtle, alligator, every kind of exotic beast and creature, snake.
Well,
You could salmon. I mean, fish leather.
Really?
Yeah. It's
I didn't even know that was a thing.
well, if it's got a skin, somebody made it into leather. Beaver,
Huh.
Beaver tail. I mean, just think of something. Somebody's made leather out of it. I had a chicken leg piece of leather not two years ago. Well, what did I do with that thing? It was a chicken leg. Why you'd tan a chicken leg, I don't know, but so yeah.
Maybe they thought it was lucky like a rabbit's foot.
Right.
Yeah, my lucky
Yeah,
chicken.
so.
My lucky chicken leather foot.
So those are, and then of course there's lots of different places around the country that import leather from Australia, England. They have some really good tanneries over there in England, some natural tanneries. So it's all you got to do is, have the money to pay for it and get about whatever you want.
What's the most expensive leather you've ever bought?
Probably Cayman alligator is the most expensive I bought. Well, I take it back now. Ostrich body, the body off of ostriches. Back when I was pricing it, was over $100 a square foot.
Good.
So,
Nice.
American alligator is pretty high. Well, they've all in the past, since I got into it, the price of all your exotic hides has doubled at least. So that's the reason.
Wow. How does that compare to just plain old just cow leather? If the other stuff's $100 a square foot, what's just a cow leather, just a plain run of the mill leather cost?
Well, people like that ostrich because it has those little dimples on it, has those little bumps all over it. Their quill, it's where the quills are.
Yeah.
When they tan it out, it's got those little. If you ever seen a pair of boots?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was ostrich. I thought it was like regular leather, but that makes sense.
Well, now sometimes, and you can get faux of just about anything. They've taken cowhide and rolled it out and made, whatever. I've got some down there that's cowhide, but it looks exactly like gator.
Oh. Well, what is just regular? What would just regular leather cost? Like run of the mill leather, a square foot?
Just belt leather, probably you get a whole hide for $180, $200. You probably make 25 belts out of it.
Gotcha. So that is pretty. What I was trying to get is how much more that ostrich is than just regular leather.
Oh yeah, it's probably quadruple at least, and it's so thin you would never make a belt out of that, but you could glue it to some thicker leather and make a belt. But ostrich is pretty thin, so cowhide can be, quarter inch thick.
Yeah. Well, well, Bruce, we'll shuffle on in on biochar. You came up the other day and you brought me a kiln, and we traded out a kiln for some seeds and stuff. So you're making biochar, and I could have sat there all day and talked to you about biochar and learned. And the quick little class you did at my shop a few months ago was awesome. I was like, this is great because Shelly roped you in. It's like, Bruce, can you talk about biochar for a minute? And I mean, it was 30 to 35 minutes of just.
I know, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's drinking from a fire hose. It's like, holy crap, I didn't know about all this.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. It's really simple, but there is a lot to it. Once you start getting into the different aspects of it. So
kind of tell everybody that's here because I know a lot of people might have just heard biochar. Some people might not know what it is and that kind of stuff. Kind of an abbreviated version, that and what you can do with the biochar once it's
why we need it. Tell people why we need it, because I don't think that a lot of people understand the necessity of this.
Well, it's an amendment. You can have a really good garden without it. You can have a pretty good garden without compost. But if you compost, you ought to make charcoal, and you ought to add it to your compost, because it's just like, why wouldn't you? So when I was talking with Eric one time, we were trying to figure out what the downside to putting that in your. We couldn't think of a downside. I mean, it helps. It helps with water retention. It helps with aeration. It helps with compaction. It helps with giving the microbes and all the microscopic organisms a place to live. You don't have to, like compost. If you're doing compost, you sort of have to do compost every year.
Yeah.
But once you put charcoal in your soil, it's there. You can, add more and more and more. I think one of the studies I saw that I liked pretty well, they had added up to 40%, which is, you'd be able to see it big time. And so, but comes a certain point where I think it probably doesn't really benefit that much. And I don't know how you'd figure that. You'd have to do some kind of a major study on this land with 20%, this land with 10%, so forth.
You said charcoal a minute ago. Charcoal and biochar are not the same, correct?
Well, all biochar is charcoal, but not all charcoal is biochar.
Right. Okay.
So thank you.
I don't want people to think that they can just go get a bag of Kingsford and dump it out in their garden and they're going to get the same effect.
Yeah, no. The charcoal has to have the microbes and the nutrients added to it. When you make charcoal, it's carbon, and that carbon is void. There's nothing in there much, because you've just got done burning it out. It's just a skeleton. I kind of like to say it's a condominium for microbes. We've got a bad problem with homelessness or on our farms, most of our microbes, a lot of our microbes don't have a place to live. We just throw them out there and we till the soil or disc it or whatever. And we don't give them a place to live, so they don't last long. So they got to be replaced. So we we put the charcoal in there, and we call it inoculate or charge. And there's lots of different ways to do that. You can just make that charcoal and add it to your compost as you're making your compost. You can put it in your chicken house. You can put it in, if you had a milk barn, you put it on the floor in your milk barn. If you had a horse stall, you could put it in your horse stall. And when you clean your horse stall out, if you use your manure in your compost or your garden, it's already getting inoculated with those microbes. So you're way ahead. And most of your farm animals, I don't know of any, I've never seen a horse eat it, but all the other farm animals will eat it as well. So it's just kind of an all-around. It's not a silver bullet. It won't solve all the problems if you have problems on but it will add to your soil immeasurably. Nobody really knows how much it's going to add because it's all on a microscopic level.
Yeah.
I don't have an electron microscope. I wish I did, but I'd like to be able to take things and look down inside those structures and see what's actually living in there. But some of those smart people that have those microscopes, they've done that.
So Healy made a comment. She said, I have a huge tomato plant. I have a huge tomato plant growing in my DIY compost bin. Are we adding activated charcoal to our compost bin or garden? I think she wants to know if you should add activated charcoal to that.
I don't know what she means by activated charcoal.
She may mean the same thing like what you're talking about. Like, would you say inoculated? Maybe she's using that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, if you've got it already, if you've already got it charged, you can add it straight into your garden. The reason
into your
we
soil,
put it in the right where you need it. The reason we put it in the compost pile is to start that inoculation process. It starts absorbing water. It starts absorbing nutrients, and the biology that's in your compost starts finding its home. Some homes in the structures of those cell walls of that material, whatever you use. Maybe it was wood or bone everything's made of carbon, so everything can be turned into to charcoal.
And that's another thing you can use bones and make biochar with the bones, right?
Oh sure, yeah, bone works really well. Yeah, I threw a whole chicken down in one of those kilns like I get you. Turn the whole bird into a charcoal.
Yeah. I know. I wanna. As soon as I get the chance, and maybe when it cools just a smidge, I'm gonna start making biochar here and trying it out. And I'm gonna put it in with my chickens, and put it in with the compost that we're making. And see what it does.
I know you can feed it to pigs, and it gives them vitamins and minerals, nutrients that they need for their gut biome and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it can hurt anything. If you've raised any little baby chicks, a lot of times the first few days they'll get that matted up manure on their hind end. Well, these baby chicks I just hatched out, from day one, I put powdered charcoal in their feed and a big teaspoonful in just heaped up down in the bottom where they were living, and every bit was gone the next day. There was no sign of it, and I've not had any of that caked up manure on their backsides of not even one in this batch. And normally I'll have a couple or at least one, but And I don't know, maybe that's just this batch of chicks, but I'm gonna keep giving it to them. That's a lot of trouble to fool with, you know.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you this. So the material that you're using for biochar, like, is there something that's more ideal than something else? Like, for example, if you had, like, maybe you had access to a bunch of scrap lumber or something like that, should you use treated lumber in biochar, or should it be like natural down trees that you drag up out of the woods or something like that? What's the best thing to use for it?
That's a good question. Well, my standard answer for that is the best is what you have at your place, and I would never use treated lumber. There's just too many chemicals in there. And there's too much other good stuff to use. I have made tons of that with 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x10s, just dimensional lumber out at SRF. That's all that I made out there was all out of dimensional lumber. What I'm using right now comes from a place that uses hard rock maple and ash. So it's really nice material, but it's really hard. I mean, it is really hard. So when it turns into charcoal, it's really hard charcoal. And that pine, you just break it up with your hands, you know. So I've made a crusher last weekend, and I'll have a video up on my site here next, well, probably a week by now, by the time I get it.
So Bruce, pretty much any of the wood except for treated wood, it's good to use.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. A lot of people that use bamboo say bamboo's the best. Well, that's what they have.
Yeah.
You know, around here we've got oak, hickory, and a lot of the hardwoods, and even some softwoods. And so, like I say, really, I can't imagine that it would be enough difference in the quality or the usability to even talk about.
Yeah. Here, Bruce, we got clarification. She said that I take activated charcoal internally to help pull out toxins, poisons, and heavy metals. Wondering if biochar is the same thing. If not, where can I get it? I live in the city/suburbs. So it doesn't sound like that's the same thing. It's activated charcoal. She's using it to pull the toxins and poisons and heavy metals out of their body.
Well, activated charcoal, they actually keep activated charcoal in emergency rooms for when people ingest poison. They'll have you take that, and it will absorb some poisons, not all of them, but it will absorb them, to help you not be poisoned. So that's probably what the kind of stuff that she's talking about. And I don't think it is the same, is it, Bruce?
It's not the same, and I should know what the difference. It's the treatment after it's made into charcoal. They don't charge it. They don't charge it with. They clean it up basically for human consumption. And I'm gonna look into that because I ought to know that. That embarrasses me. I don't know the difference there, but I heard about it, but I didn't get it in my brain. So, but you can eat that charcoal that I make. I mean, it wouldn't hurt you a bit. I've eaten it. My wife's eaten it. It's just carbon. I wouldn't, if I threw it down there in the horse stall, in the middle of that big puddle of manure, I probably wouldn't eat that. But I try to get it as clean as I could.
Yeah.
So Healy, Bruce actually makes kilns that you can make not activated, but make biochar in. And I'm not sure where you're located. I'm a city suburb. I get that, but I'm not sure, like, geographically where you're located. But you can make biochar yourself, and Bruce actually goes into that on his YouTube channel. if you want to come to our festival the last weekend in October in Bowling Green, Kentucky, he's going to be there teaching about biochar. But Bruce, do you know of places where she might be able to purchase that from online or anything?
Yeah.
She said that she's in California.
Hey Lee, are you in Northern California, close to Porterhouse? Porterhouse is around. He's around Sacramento, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in the Sacramento Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of places that you can buy high quality charcoal on the internet. But you don't. I mean, if you have a little hibachi and the neighbor was trimming trees or you were picking up sticks, you could make your own. I mean, you don't have to make a wheelbarrow full to get the benefit of it. You know, you could make it in a little grill. If you had a charcoal grill, you could gather sticks up anywhere. I mean, go down to the park and just gather up sticks, or go into the country and go along the side of the road and gather up dry sticks. It takes a little effort, it takes a little time, but anybody can make it. If you got a match, I mean, you can make charcoal.
And Haley, go over and check out Bruce's channel. He's got. You still just have one video up on that right now, Bruce?
No, I put another one up yesterday.
Okay. All right.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah, Bruce has got a video of an open kiln going with the. Yeah, you got. That you sent me that one video, but Bruce has got a couple videos now making it, and you can do it on as big a scale or as small a scale as you want to. And even in a suburban city lot, you should be able to make some. Don't you think, Bruce?
Oh yeah, it was small scale like that. It wouldn't make enough smoke if somebody was worried about smoke. Anywhere you can run a grill, you can make charcoal. I mean, it's no more difficult than that, and no more smoke really putting it out, especially if you use dry sticks or dry wood. They might be building a house someplace close to that lady, and if they are, she ought to just go over there and ask the carpenters to pile up the 2x4s for her, and she got ready free material right there. And those 2x4, that pine material is pretty dry unless it's been sitting out in the weather, and that makes really good biochar.
And worst case, have some chicken or a steak sitting out there, and if somebody complains, tell them you're just going to grill.
Yeah, that's right.
Be like, I'm getting ready to grill. I'm not making the biochar. I'm not doing harmful homesteading activities.
And you can do it in a hole in the ground. I mean, yeah. You really can. I don't think the quality would be any different. It's not hard, and it's not rocket science. There's a lot of science behind it, but to make it, anybody can, and I think everybody should.
So what I've been reading,
I'll have a video on it pretty soon. So
okay, I'm gonna hold you to that.
So what I've been reading about this, researching about it, and trying to, I kind of want to know what it's about. I'm not saying I'm 100% certain that it's great for my garden, but I'm just curious. So, I like with compost, when you make your own compost, it's better to use materials from your property because that's already the stuff that's good for your property, right? Like it's the same microbes and all that kind of thing. Is that how it is with biochar? Is it better to use materials? I mean, I know if you have to source it somewhere else, go do that. But optimally, is it better to use materials from your own place because it's already stuff that's there? I mean, just because it's already the right kind of microbes, the right kind of things growing in your area kind of thing?
Well, the indigenous microbes are definitely more beneficial than if you got them off the shelf or you ordered them from somewhere else. But once that material goes through the fire, it doesn't matter where it came from. There's nothing in there.
There you go. Okay.
It's absolutely void of any. Nothing can stand that heat. The only thing that can stand that heat is carbon. And if you leave it just a little bit longer, it's going to be ash. So that's the. But you're right. You're right thinking about that, about the microbes in your area. You can collect those microbes, mycorrhizon, and all of that from
Right.
your area. Put it right in your compost. All you got to have is a bag of rice. You know.
Yeah, because essentially once you've got the biochar and it's went through the process, it's 100% pure carbon then, right?
Well, it's not actually 100%, but a lot of it's 85 to 90.
Okay.
It's still got some volatile compounds in it, and it's not. You can get it that way, but you'd have to have a high tech way of making it in an totally oxygen free environment. Plus, the type of material that you use would have to be, 100% pure, and there. But yeah, it's 85, 90% carbon.
All right. All right, good. Shelly, what other questions? You're better at asking questions than me, or the right kind
I've
of questions, at least.
I've kind of got my questions answered, and I think we have piqued the interest of some people. Um, this is definitely when we got to hear Bruce talk at our class that we had at Jason's a couple months ago. I had heard about biochar from Billy at Permapasture Farm, because he was talking about feeding it to his pigs, because it gave them the nutrients and stuff, the minerals, vitamins and minerals that they need in their stomach and all of that kind of stuff to keep them healthy. And so whenever, and I didn't realize that there was like a whole way to do this, like a whole process. And so whenever we would have, if we did like a campfire in the backyard or something like that, the next morning what I had left over, I would just toss it over the fence to the pigs, and oh my God, they would tear it up. They love that stuff. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And then I meet Bruce, and I'm like, so explain to me about this biochar. And he starts telling me all of this stuff about, like there is a difference between charcoal and biochar, that doesn't have all of the good things, that charcoal doesn't have all the good things in there that you need. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know if what I was tossing over the fence to the pigs was a good thing or not, but they still liked eating it, right? So I'm just excited about starting to make this. I mean, people, we need to know about this. And the thing about it is that I think some people might be looking at this from a standpoint of it's going to make your garden grow a little bit better. So, like, why not just throw on fertilizer or something like that? The way that I see this is that all of these natural inputs that we can put into it, one, that's going to make us sustainable, right? We're not going to have to go buy this stuff at the store, because, we just had storms come through Kentucky and we've got trees down everywhere. Why not make biochar, right?
Yep.
And two, all of those nutrients that are in that biochar that's going to feed our plants in our garden and help them to grow better, those nutrients are then going into the plants that we're going to consume. And it's just like that whole cycle thing that, is just going to make our plants that we consume, our garden vegetables, it's just going to make them healthier and not have chemicals from the store that you're using
Right.
for fertilizers. So that's kind of my take on this. That's why I'm very interested in doing this, because biochar just seems like that one more step to sustainability, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah. And you're taking a waste stream and turning it into something useful. So I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm a contractor, and I see when they're framing houses how much wasted framing material. I mean, and when
Yep.
you take a construction dumpster, it doesn't get sorted out, wood and plastic and that. They take it to a landfill and dump the whole thing. So,
Yep.
I mean, I've seen it. I mean, there's tons it's not useful lumber, but for biochar, it's great. You don't even have to. A lot of it you won't even have to cut up or do anything with. You can put it right there in and go with it.
Right. And
So I mean, yeah, like I said, that's
lasts.
one more thing you can pull out of the waste stream.
Exactly. And it lasts. It's not something, it's a little bit fragile if you crush it up real fine. The wind can blow it and the water can wash it away. I've kind of gotten away from getting mine super small. I like to be able to see it in there.
Yeah.
So you gotta be once it gets in your soil, that's a little different story. But you do kind of got to be a little bit careful with it if it's real powdery. I leave some of my chunks big as my thumb or double. I kind of think that maybe the bigger the chunk is, the longer it'll stay absorbed with water, and the further down in the middle of that, it has more substance. So I don't know if that's exactly true. Kind of makes sense to me.
And this might help Mealy here, Bruce. If we had, let's just say you got some raised beds. If you made biochar and put biochar in this raised bed this year, how long would it be before you needed to do that again?
That's exactly what I was going to ask, because
Never.
he just said something about that.
Never. You'd never have to do it again.
So once you spread out biochar into, like, say you have a 4 by 8 foot raised bed, about how much biochar would it be, like a gallon size bag or something that you would have to put in that?
Well, I've got lots of it, so I would put as much. If I had to buy it, I'd put a little this year, and then over winter I'd put some more in there. For a 4 by 8, I'd put probably a 5-gallon bucket if I could get it, and then
you'd never have to do it again.
you wouldn't have to. You could add some more, but there's a breaking point there where it's not going to be that much more beneficial. You only have so much. You only have so many microbes, and so I would say 10 to 20% by volume would probably be.
So it doesn't like dissolve out when it gets wet and stuff?
No.
It's not like ash, I guess?
No, it does not dissolve out, and microbes don't eat it. They don't. Nothing.
They just live in it.
They just get up in there, and it makes a nice little house for them.
I mean, everything I've read on it, it lasts hundreds of years, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
down there in South America where they found it, where it got everything kind of ginned up, they say that in that area down there, it's been there thousands of years.
Really?
Because that soil down there is no good.
Yeah.
It's really bad. The water washes all the nutrients right out of it. It gets so much rain there. So they started putting that in there, and they actually a lot of it was their toilet pots that was full of toilet material. They put the charcoal down in there and bury it. And that's how a lot of it got started. But some of that's down there's 3 feet deep, 3-4 feet deep.
Yeah, I watched some videos and read a little bit about that. What is it? Terra Perma is what they call it?
Yeah, Terra Preta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the classic, go-to example. There's a lot of science behind it. And, you kind of hate to, I mean, I don't have, like I said, I don't have a microscope that I can see microscopic life. So I've kind of got to trust. And, right now, in the past few years, science and the word trust haven't gone together very well.
Right?
So,
no, really?
But there is some real science that can be trusted. And that's kind of the way the Lord made it, whether it was science agreed with it or not, it all kind of works together. And the healthier our soil is, the more microbes we have, and the more relationship that the microbes have with the plants and nematodes and all the little creatures that live down there. The better
Oh,
better off it's going to be for us.
oh yeah,
Yep.
and I can tell a huge difference down in my food forest because that before we sheet mulched it and put wood chips on there, we had about maybe 2 inches of topsoil and the rest was just hard packed red clay.
That's what I got.
It was a chore just to try to plant anything down there. The other day when I planted some tomatoes down there, I took a small like hand spade and you could sink that thing 8 inches in the dirt. And so I dug a little bitty hole. I literally loosened that soil up and took my hand and dug the rest of it out. And you were pulling a handful of soil out, and there's just earthworms just crawling on your fingers.
That's good.
Yeah, and it's amazing what you can do in such a short time. And hell, really, I don't even know what I'm doing. I just look like I do sometimes. So it works.
Well, I'm not telling anybody.
Yeah. So you can build your soil, and I'm excited about incorporating the biochar in with my compost that we're making and throwing it in the chicken coops. I'm going to start feeding it to the animals and see what happens with them.
I picked a shovelful off into my chicken pen. Well, as soon as it's gone, I throw another, and I don't fool with it. I just get a shovelful. It's right by the chicken pen. I just pitch it off in there, and they scratch it and beat it around and peck it, and when it's gone, I throw some more in there.
Yeah.
And I have some in the chicken house too. It's just one of those things. It's the best thing that I've found for gardening since I started composting, and I've been composting for a long time. So.
Well, let's shift gears. You're going to be at our festival in October in Bowling Green, Kentucky, at the Ag Expo Center. You're going to have. You're one of our sponsors for the event. You're going to have leather goods there, and you're going to have some of your kilns, right?
Right. Yeah. My wife and I will be there. She will. When I'm not at the booth, she'll be taking care of that. And I'm going to have some kilns there. I'm going to make some biochar during my talk. It takes about 40 minutes, and I'll make some right on the spot and show people what it looks like.
That'll be awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Well, I'll bring a bag or two, with me so people can see it. I've got a little handheld microscope that I found online. It's for kids, but it magnifies pretty good. I'm gonna bring a couple of those, and so people can kind of look at the biochar or the charcoal and see what it looks like. See some of the structures. It's not by any stretch of imagination an electron microscope, but it'll be interesting, I think. So, and then I'll be glad to answer any questions. I'll have probably 4, maybe 5 different kinds of types and kinds of kilns to show. And if somebody wants them, that'd be great. If they don't, it's fine too. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. And now your presentation is going to be on biochar then, right?
Right. Well, making charcoal and then turning it into biochar. Right.
Perfect.
I can't really get into all the science of it and a lot of the stuff. Just you can get into all that minutia and just get bogged down with all that. But when people leave that talk, they'll have enough information. And I'm going to try this time. Didn't have a printer last time. I think I'm going to have a handout with steps and maybe some information about places they can go and get some other information or more information. So I'm hoping to have a handout for everybody there as well.
Yeah, Chuck, it will work putting it in your raised beds. So it will work for that. Chuck was asking, what about raised beds? Will it work with that? Or maybe.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you can incorporate it in your raised beds for sure, Chuck. So,
And I put it in my house plants. You know, I put it everywhere that I was going to try to grow something. My flower beds, my rose beds, underneath my trees. When I came back and did my, after from being up there with my food forest in my apple trees, I put down a heavy layer of charcoal before I put down the cardboard of the mulch and the cardboard chips on top. So see how that goes.
and another thing is it'll hold a lot of water too, right?
It holds a whole lot of water. That
Yeah.
barrel that you have, when I fill those barrels completely full of water, and when I come back in a couple of days, that water is down 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah.
Eventually,
And that since it holds so much water, it'll be good. It would keep you from watering as much, wouldn't it? Or if you can have that soil holding water so much better, wouldn't it? I think Bruce locked up.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
He'll be back on in a minute. But from what I've seen and read and listened to, it'll hold a lot of water, so it really cuts down on the amount of watering you have to do and stuff like that. That your soil will hold water longer. Maybe Bruce will be back in a minute.
Well, we're coming up on an hour, so if you all if this has piqued your interest and you want to learn more about biochar, go check out Bruce's channel on YouTube. Do you know the name of his channel?
Leather
What
Homestead.
is it?
Leather
Homestead on YouTube. But also get your butt out to our festival. It's the Kentucky Sustainable Living Homesteading and Preparedness Festival, October 28th and 29th. Bruce will have a booth set up there, and he will also be one of our speakers. We have several people coming in. And if you check out every Friday, Jason, Jake, and I are trying to do these videos where we bring in our speaker and just give you an idea of what it is that they know about, what their expertise is, and what they're going to be teaching about at the festival. So you can go check those out. They're on all 3 of our channels. And yeah, Chuck, you better be at that festival. So Chuck Peoples, who is in the comments right now, he is going to be teaching our homestead medicine class or homestead medical class. It's going to be on Friday. That is an all-day class. It is a pay class. So if you go to KentuckySustainableLiving.com, you can get tickets for that. He's also going to be teaching the Stop the Bleed class that is a half-day class on Sunday, also a paid class. And then Eric from Porterhouse and Teal is going to be teaching on Friday an all-day guild class, how to build a guild, a plant guild. And that's our 3rd pay class. Those classes, yes, you have to pay for those. The festival that we're going to have, we've got, I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 15 presenters now, right, Jason?
I think it's over
like that. Yeah, we may be over 15 now. They're going to be coming in, speaking all those 2 days on Saturday and Sunday, and that is all free. So, and Chuck just put in the comments that his class is a hands-on class. It is a hands-on class. Jason and I have both taken that class, and you will walk away with a wealth of knowledge. Like, you know, you may have not stayed in a Holiday Inn Express, but you will feel like you did. So come to the festival, come check it out. But one of the things that I want to point out is that I'm not going to go into all of the speakers that we have. We'll do that on our video next week or sometime through the week. But on Saturday night, we're going to have a charity banquet. And so all of our speakers that are going to be at the festival are going to be in attendance at that banquet, and you will be able to purchase a ticket to that and have dinner with our speakers, get to talk to them one-on-one, ask them questions. all of that kind of thing. Now, y'all, the ticket to get into this dinner is $250. And I know that sounds like a lot. You are going to get a really nice dinner. What is on the menu? Is it prime rib?
Yes.
Yeah, we're having a prime rib dinner. But this is the thing, that $250, 50 of it is going to go toward the cost of us putting the dinner on and all of that. The 200 from the dinner is going to go to Vets for Child Rescue. Our goal is to raise $10,000. If you haven't seen the video called Contraland, go check it out. It's not contraband, it's Contraland on YouTube. It's free to watch it. Vets for Child Rescue created this documentary, and it's about child sex trafficking, y'all. And our goal is to raise enough money. They told us that it was an average of $10,000 to put on like a sting operation to catch pedophiles. And we want to raise $10,000 to pay for a sting operation. I know it sounds like, when I say operation, it sounds like medical. It's not medical. It's an operation to catch pedophiles. So, help us reach our goal. It is our responsibility to protect the most vulnerable in our society, right? So that Jason, Jake, and I, we have this goal to raise that $10,000 to pay for them to be able to do that. And it's just something that's near and dear to all of our hearts. We all have kids. We all want to protect the kids. And yeah. So do you have anything to add to that?
Bruce's phone died.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Bruce. But we're almost to an hour anyway, so it's all good, I guess.
Yeah, the festival is going to be awesome. Sign up if you plan on coming. Sign up for the email reminders and the email updates. That helps us know how many people are going to be at the festival. We're not going to spam you with a bunch of emails and stuff like that, but it helps letting us know and letting us plan for what's going on. We got raffle stuff that we're going to be selling tickets for at the festival. We got door prizes that we're going to be giving away. We got the butchering. We're going to butcher a whole pig. Darren from Hacks from the Homestead and Billy with Permapastures are going to be doing the pig processing. We're also doing chickens on Sunday, so it's going to be something for everybody. If you're anywhere close, I mean, we've already got people coming in from California. Eric with Porterhouse and Teals coming in from California. We've got people coming in from all over. So, and you'll probably meet somebody that's close to you, even if you drive from, I don't know, West Virginia, North Carolina, something like that. You could probably meet somebody that lives close to you. So don't think, oh, it's 200 miles. 200 miles is nothing to come for the weekend and get to be around the amount of people and the caliber of people that are going to be at the festival. So, but that's probably it.
And that website again is KentuckySustainableLiving.com. Go check it out.
Yes. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody watching. We're going to end, and I'm going to call Bruce back once his phone charges and talk to him. But guys, we appreciate it, and y'all have a good night. Thank y'all.
See y'all later. Bye.